Hey, good afternoon. Today is Monday, the 24th day of January 2022. We had some charting issues today during the afternoon broadcast, so I was unable to completely finish the Concierge trade alerts. And so this will be a very short broadcast. We're going to do right now, real quick, what we typically do each day on the afternoon broadcast. So, starting out, here is a daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures. Here's the last leg down, which we will now extend to compensate for today's low. Here we had a bullish cross, and we expected there to be support at that area. There was, and it caught a bounce, and then we took out that low. The next low we were looking to take out was right here, and then the low after that was right here. You can see it on the horizontal line of my cursor. Looks like it's almost to the tick. And interestingly enough, let me put you on pause for 1 second. Okay, we have confirmation that it's definitely Monday because it's been Monday all day long. Now, interestingly, when we took out this swing low, we went from measuring the last leg up to measuring the last leg down. We expected support here. We got it imbalanced. We took out this swing low. And again, this swing low is perfectly today's low. And by today, I mean Monday, because in 45 minutes, the markets will reopen at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we will begin the Tuesday session, even though it's still Monday night here in the U.S. Now look where we bounced to. We bounced right back up to the area where we expected support and got some support. Okay, you've all heard what was once the floor becomes the ceiling and vice versa. So when the market reopens tonight, Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll see if this becomes resistance or if after this huge bounce, the market continues to move higher. And of course, we'll update all of this on tomorrow's live broadcast. Now, the Concierge trade alerts, which were issued Sunday night, they're always issued shortly after the Globex open each evening. If you want to grab a screenshot, you can. The CTAs went out last night, Sunday night, 6:35 p.m. Eastern. There are two numbers for each market. Whatever market you trade, The important thing to do is once this static report is published each evening, shortly after the Globex Open, make note of where price is for the markets that you trade at the time this report is posted. Going forward, if price starts to trend up towards 44.31, that's bullish, and so our strategy will look for opportunities to be long the market, and that's where you'll use our round-the-clock Emini alert service, Logic 247, and everything you learn in the live training room each day to yourself find opportunities to be long the market. On the other hand, if price starts trending down towards 43.77, that's bearish, so our strategy will look for opportunities to be short the market, and that's where you'll use Logic 247, our round-the-clock Emini alert service, and everything you learn in the live training room to yourself find opportunities to be short the market. So if you want a screenshot, there's everything. This is the S&P up here, the Dow, the Russell, crude, the NQ, gold, silver, and the euro. The markets that we cover with the Concierge trade alerts as a static report are the same markets that we cover with Logic 247. Now, whereas this comes out each day as a static report, good for the entire session, these alerts are based on historical price action. The Logic 247 alerts, which come out around the clock 24/7 from Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern to Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, those are based on current price action. And so, we've already covered what happened on the daily chart. The most interesting thing on the daily chart for me is the fact that not only did we hit this support area that we outlined last week as potential support, but it also bounced us right back up to the area that we expected to be good support. It was support for a bit. If you look at it on a smaller time frame, you'll see there was a bit of a dogfight here, and then we closed Friday just below that area. And then we opened last night here. We had a slight gap higher open. And then we traded up. We opened actually here. Traded up. All the way down. Back up again. Alright, on the S&P 30-minute, all of the alerts, both Logic and Concierge, are based on the 30-minute chart. We're currently in week 182 of Logic 247. We've published about 9,500 individual alerts. All of those are trend trades or trend alerts. We define trend by the 30-minute chart and where price is relative to this green line, which we call the BBC. It just stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses above it, we're bullish. When price crosses below it, we're bearish. When it's above like this, we anticipate higher prices. And when it's below, like it is here, we anticipate lower prices. So on the S&P, 43.77 was the short alert, 31 was the long alert. The vertical line here separates the Monday session, the Sunday night Monday session, from the Friday session. So we never triggered on the long side. Now, once an alert triggers, there's a greater probability of it triggering multiple times than not triggering multiple times. So on this first trigger at 43.77, we dropped to 61.25. So that's a little better than 15 points at $50 a point. We then got back above the trigger Remember, once an alert triggers, there's a greater probability of it triggering multiple times than not triggering multiple times. And we trigger at 43.77 down to the low of the session at 42.13. So 43.77 minus 42.13, that's 164 points at $50 a point. It's $8,200 per contract traded. Now that sounds like a lot, and it is. So let's do the math again real quick. 43.77 minus the low of the session, 42.1275, we'll call it 42.13. 164 points at $50 a point. That's $8,200 per contract traded. Now, getting out at a swing low is very difficult, just as getting out at a swing high is very difficult, because you don't know it's the swing low or swing high until after the fact. Now, you'll notice on the way down, this black line, which we call our step line, it's on the left side of the CFMA1, which I call simply red and falling, blue and climbing. Okay? So, since getting out at an exact swing low is difficult, we wait for what we call the official exit signal. Once the step line crosses from the left side to the right side of red and falling, then the first green candle that closes above the step line, and in this case that would be 42.68. So 43.77 minus 42.68, that's 109 points at $50 a point, $5,450 per contract traded. Now, typically, the final trade to target on an alert will be the weekly trading zone below. These are still last week's zones on the chart. On tomorrow's show, the zones will be updated with this week's zones. All of our members receive the zones Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. We've published the zones since December 14th, 2009. So we have well over a decade of data that shows us how price behaves around a weekly trading zone. It's the rare weeks that we close below the lowest or above the highest weekly trading zone. Over the last few weeks, we've had, I think, 2 weeks, possibly even 3, where we've actually closed below the lowest weekly trading zone. That's unusual, but market activity has been unusual. After almost a 2-year bullish move, we have seen that financial gravity can take a market down a lot faster than buyers can take it up. So that's what happened with the CTAs on the S&P, on the Dow. Again, no trigger on the long side. On the short side, from 35.075, we traded down to 33.992. So that would be 75 and 8. That would be 83 points. $5 a point. It's $415 per contract traded. Price then got back above the trigger. Remember, once it triggers, it's probably going to trigger again. Down we go again. And we put in a low at 33.031. So this is what the market gave us. 34.075 minus the swing low at 33.031. That's 1,044 points at $5 a point. That's $5,220 per contract traded. Each one of these candles represents 30 minutes. Moving on to the Russell. We had two-sided action on the Russell. The initial trigger at 1980 took us down to a swing low of 69.70. We'll just call it 1970. That makes it an easy 10 points. At $50 a point, it's $500 per contract traded. Then we got back above, triggered again. This time we dropped to 1974. That's 6 points. At $50 a point, that's $300 per contract traded. We then got back above the trigger and we dropped to 75.3. We'll call it 76. That's 4 points. $50 a point, $200 per contract traded. So we have one trigger, two trigger, three trigger, and the fourth and final trigger took us from 1980 down to, we'll just count this leg here, make it simple. Call it 1929. So 80 minus 29, that's 51 points at $100 a point. It's $5,100 per contract traded. 1, 2, 3, 4 triggers. The fourth trigger took us down to this swing low, which was worth, if you got out at the swing low, which again, you probably didn't, because there's no way to know it's a swing low till after the fact. And so as you can see, the step line crossed over, green candle closed above the step line, and so the closing price of this candle was $19.49. We'll call it 50. That's 30 points, $50 a point, $1,500 per contract traded from the entry to the official exit signal. Next is the NQ. And the NQ triggered the first time right here at 14,365, and it dropped to 292. So 365 minus 292, 73 points at $20 a point, $1,460 per contract traded. Then we get back above the trigger, trigger again. This time from the published entry at 14,365 minus 13,700. That's 665 points at $20 a point, that's what the NQ pays. $13,300 per contract traded. That's if you got out at the exact swing low. But again, the official exit signal was right here at the close of this candle, which was 13,971. Now it was 13,970 half, so we'll be conservative and round it up to 13,971. So 14,365 minus 13,971 is 394 points at $20 a point. $7,880 per contract traded, and that would be from the published entry to the official exit signal. It's the first green candle that closes above the step line. Once the step line crosses from the left side to the right side of red and falling. So that covers the four major indices: the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ. There's one more look at the S&P, the Dow, the Russell. Oh, that's right. I don't think we calculated the long side on the Russell. So the first trigger on the Russell took us from 2011 to 2018 and change. So we'll call that 7 points at $50 a point, $350 per contract traded. Then price got back below the trigger. Once it triggers, it's high probability it's going to trigger again. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So from 2011 up to 2037, that would be 26 points at $50 a point. That would be $1,300 per contract traded. And again, the CTAs come out every night shortly after the Globex open. They might come out a few minutes later tonight than normal because I'm in the process of making this video right now. So that's the four major indices on crude oil. No trigger on the long side, triggered on the short side. The short trigger was 84.10. And so this first little blip here took us down to 84.02. That's $80 per contract traded. And we got back above the trigger, and we had not traded below last week's lowest weekly trading zone, so the trade 2 target would be this zone here. It continued further down to the zone below where it found support and made its turnaround. So we're going to just calculate this, 84.10. The zone is 82.80/85. So 84.10 minus 82.85. It's $1,250 per contract traded. Now that's from the published entry to the published target, but as you can see, we continued on down to the weekly trading zone. Whenever price drops to a weekly zone, we expect that to be good support. When price rises to a weekly zone, we expect that to be good resistance. Again, the zones are published Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern for all of our members. And once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Next we'll go to gold. Gold had more triggers than you can shake a stick at on the long side. This first trigger from 1838, it's $40 per contract traded, then back below the trigger. And 1839.70, so that's $170 per contract traded. And we got back below the zone. We triggered again, and this time it took us up to 1844.9. So we'll call that $600 per contract traded. Not all triggers are created equal. We don't go long into red and falling. Blue and climbing represents support, higher prices. Red and falling indicates resistance and lower prices. So even though we got below the trigger and triggered, this would not be a valid trigger. Now, once we get blue and climbing back in the picture and price gets back above the BBC, we made a run up to 1843.2, so that's $500 per contract traded. Then we drop back below the trigger, and we finished the session out with a high of at 1844, $640 per contract traded. Silver triggered multiple times on the short side. Silver, when the price of silver moves by $1, when it goes from $23 to $24, that's worth $5 grand. So a 100 penny move is worth $5,000 if you're trading futures. That's per contract. So 24.18, we had a drop to 24.17. Price basically got rejected there, but it did trickle over the line by about a half a point, or a point, $50. Then back above the trigger. Now we go again, this time from 24.18 to 24.16. Back above the trigger. Down we go again, this time to 24, we'll call it 15, so that's 3 pennies. Back above the trigger, down we go again. And this was the trade to target. Now, price tried to make it to the weekly zone below, but on this market, we did not exceed the lowest weekly trading zone last week, so we still had a trade to target. And so on this one, it took us right to the target at 2409/10. So that would be 8 pennies, 2 pennies, $100. And on the euro, we had 1, 2, 3 triggers on the short side and nothing on the long side. And again, we had not exceeded. This was the final trade to target. Buyers came in right where you would expect them. Just simply look left. Overshot it a little bit because there was a lot of bearish momentum. And then we got back above the trigger and triggered again, but not all triggers created equal. On a short, you want red and falling. On a long, you want blue and climbing. And so, on this short trigger, we would not want to trade that because we're above the BBC and we have blue and climbing in the picture, both of which represent potential support, and that's what they exactly were, was support. And this one little candle here, looks like it reached up and got, what was the high of this candle? It got like a half a penny above the trigger. But when that happened, price was above the VBC, and on the 30-minute chart, We only go short below the BBC. We only go long above the BBC. And those rules, guidelines are carved in stone. So that takes us through all of the markets that we typically recap during the afternoon broadcast. But due to some charting issues, we weren't able to do that during the normal afternoon broadcast, but you can catch us live every day, youtube.com/CFRN from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, I'm not able to monitor the chat box on the YouTube channel because I'm watching the question box on our own platform. So if you go through this process one time, you'll be able to join the show every day at 12 noon Eastern, and you'll be able to ask questions and participate in the discussion. And again, you only have to do this just once. Go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone. Follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds. And that's going to give you one-click access to the show each and every day. You'll have access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. You'll get an email right before the show starts with a link. So when you're ready to join the show, all you have to do is click that link each day. You don't have to go through any kind of a login process. And you're in like Flynn. You're able to ask questions, participate in the discussion. And of course, on the days when you're out of the office or away from your desktop and you still want to join the show, just point your browser to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. While you're there, be sure to click the subscribe button and the little bell. This way, every time we go live, you will be notified. Not only do we broadcast live each and every day on our YouTube channel, but we currently have over 1,800 daily live broadcasts archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, to become a part of the CFRN family, to get your very own lifetime passport. Now, the passport is unfettered access to everything we do, everything we've ever done, and all the new stuff we're doing now. The methodology and strategy that we teach works not only with futures, but stocks, options, cryptocurrency, Forex. The passport provides unlimited access to everything we do. Number one, you have a live trainer 2 hours a day from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern every trading day. It's an interactive environment, so you're able to watch our trader put on, take off trades, whether it's Michael, whether it's Valerie, or Bird, or whoever, putting on, taking off trades, explaining every move they make, every trade they take, the rule behind it, and of course, answering any and all of your questions. People often ask, how long will it take me to learn this simple strategy? That depends. Number one, different people learn at different speeds, and number two, it depends upon how interactive you are with the live teacher each day. The more questions you ask, the sooner you'll learn the strategy. If you just want to watch, not participate, not ask questions, not get involved in the process, and just try to learn by osmosis, that's going to be a very long journey. However, if you take advantage of the interactive environment, ask lots of questions, then you will learn sooner than later. Now, the passport, which is lifetime, never expires, there's no recurring fees whatsoever. Not only do you have a live teacher every day, you have access to unlimited one-on-one private mentoring. Again, you will learn our methodology, which works for futures, stocks, options, cryptocurrencies, Forex. You own the indicator set for life. You receive the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You have access to the Concierge trade alerts, the Thursday night member-only meetings, everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Your passport is waiting right here at eminifuturestrading.com. When you go there to grab your passport and your lifetime membership, if you have any questions, just give Valerie a call at 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. If you've never taken a trial with us before, you can do that by going to eminitrainingschool.com. eminitrainingschool.com. For one full week, 5 trading days, we treat you just like a lifetime member. You have access to everything. Not only the live teacher every day, not only the private mentoring, but you get a chance to learn about our methodology and our strategy. You get to use our indicators. You receive the alerts. Again, we treat you just like a lifetime member for an entire week to give you the opportunity to determine, to make a well-informed decision as to whether or not what we do is right for you. There are many, many ways to trade the market, but I don't know of a way simpler than the one we offer. However, by taking advantage of the free trial at eminitrainingschool.com, you can find out for yourself if what we do is right for you before you purchase your lifetime membership. So, again, I apologize that we weren't able to do the Concierge Trade Alert recap during the afternoon broadcast as we normally do, but the charting issues seem to be straightened out, and I will be going to work shortly here on tonight's Concierge Trade Alerts. I'll get them published as soon as possible, and then I will see you tomorrow morning at the bell. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.